Hello everyone, my name is Anshul and I'm a corporate trainer at Madrid Software Training Solutions. So today we are going to talk about something which is really interesting and something which is everyone is discussing about. So as you can see, we are going to talk about Python. It's going to be a brief introduction about Python, and we are going to discuss why Python is so popular and why it is important for data science. So let's hit the agenda. For today, we are going to discuss what is Python, and then we are going to discuss the language properties, what are the various data types in Python, why we should learn Python, where are the domains where we can use Python, and a brief difference between Python versus Perl and Python versus Java. Then we are going to move for we are going to discuss why Python is used for data science, and then some important libraries for data science in Python. As you can see, Python is a high-level programming language and it is usually used for software engineering. But you can do a lot more than that with Python. You can do web development with Python, you can do machine learning with Python, and it has a various application. It consists of so many tools, so many libraries that you can use, and it has no end to it. So a Python is a server-side language. So basically, what is a server-side language? It means that whatever input you are giving to that particular language, the logic behind those inputs are running on the server. That is why it is called a server-side language. Python is more efficiently written as compared to other languages like C, R, and Java. And because of this efficiency, Python is growing more and more in popularity and as becoming the primary languages for many applications. So, talking about the language properties, in Python, everything is an object. If you talk about procedural programming language, the procedural programming language means the emphasis is on the functions. Basically, that you do everything you are related to the functions. But in Python, everything is an object. And what is an object? An object is a collection of data, variables, and methods associated with it. So whatever you do in Python, whatever you create in Python, it is basically an object. Basically, whatever instance you create in Python, it will be taken as an object, and then you have associated functions with that object. Suppose you create a string, then you have an associated function count or say upper function. So that is why it is an object, and you can access that object, access the various attributes of that object. When we talk about modules, a module is basically a file that contains Python code. Basically, whatever file you have which contains Python code is contained as a module. For example, there is a file called sample.py. A sample.py file is a Python file, and the name of the module is sample. When we talk about classes are the object oriented programming basically. Oops. So you can have access to classes in Python. When we talk about functions are basically the sequential line of code. When you combine the code in basically under a particular name, that becomes a function. When we talk about exception handling, in Python you can handle errors on your own. So basically, in Python there are various errors like attribute error, type error, value error. These are the inbuilt errors which contains in Python. But you can also define your own errors. Suppose you're writing a code and you know that there might be an error in your input if a third person is inputting something. So you can handle those exceptions by writing your own code. When we talk about dynamic typing, so what is exactly dynamic typing? Dynamic typing simply means, if we talk about C++, we have to instantiate an object. Suppose we want to create an object of int type. So we have to predefine the type of the object. Suppose we want a variable a, so we used to write int a. But in Python, the moment you create an object, the Python already process its data type. Suppose you need to write a is equals to 5, so you get the type int. Suppose you store your name in an object, the type of an object will become a string. So that's what is dynamic typing. So talking about polymorphism is basically, you have an object or a function that has multiple operations under the given name, that has multiple leverages. For example, the length function in Python. With the length function in Python, you can have the length of the string, you can have the length of a dictionary, you can have the length of the list as well. So this is the basic example of polymorphism. And going forward to static scoping, static scoping is basically when you create a variable, when you create an object, suppose a or whatever object you create, you can change that object and access that object everywhere inside the code until unless it is defined inside a function. It is static scoping. You can access the object everywhere in the code. And operator overloading. So what is operator overloading? Operator overloading basically means you are giving an extra meaning to the operator. Suppose you are using the plus operator, that is the addition operator. With addition operator we can add two numbers, two integer numbers or two floating numbers. But in Python you can also add strings, you can also add list. So basically that operator, the addition operator, is overloaded with string as well as list. So that is what operator overloading is. When we talk about indentation for block structure, basically like in C++ and other languages, you need to create a block when you write a function. So that particular function, that particular lines of code runs in that particular block. But in Python there is no blocks as such, we don't need to mention the curly braces. Instead of that we use indentation, four spaces in Python instead of that block. So what are the data types in Python? The basic data types are int, long and float. Int for string numbers, long for sorry, int for integers, float for decimal numbers, and long for very large numbers, very large numbers in memory. When we talk about complex, complex is basically the imaginary numbers, 1 plus iota, 2 plus iota. So these are the complex numbers, and Python does have a complex data type. And then Python has strings. So how do you define a string in Python? Whatever you enclosed in single quotes or double quotes, that becomes a string. And in Python strings are immutable. There are various containers in Python as well. The containers basically that contains the data, and these are list and dictionaries. List is basically a one dimensional array, or you can also say one dimensional vector. You can store anything in list. Basically a list is an heterogeneous data structure, whereas dictionaries are basically the key value pairs. You have a key, you have an associated value with that key. And in dictionaries you can have no you cannot have another key with the same name. So basically dictionaries does possess a uniqueness for the keys. Other types of data are binary data, the regular expressions. Regular expressions are basically useful for textual data. So like you need to grab some information, particular information from a text, then you use regular expression. And introspection. So what is introspection? Introspection is what if you want to know what all functions and what all modules or what all you can do with a particular object or with a particular function, you can use the help function in Python. The help function in Python will return the all possible functions and all possible explanation to that particular object that you want to know about. That is what introspection is. And what is amazing about Python is that you can create your own modules. There are built-in modules like NumPy, Pandas, but you can create your own modules and you can use them later. And any third person can use them later if the person has access to those modules. So why should we learn Python? Python, as I earlier mentioned, it is an object-oriented language. The more the emphasis is on object as compared to the functions. It is an interpreted language. It is easily interpreted, and it supports dynamic data type. Dynamic data type means whenever you create a variable, the data type of the variable is automatically assessed by the Python. Independent from platforms. It is not dependent on platforms. You can use it on Ideal. You can use it on Jupyter as well. And basically you must have heard about that Python is slower than Java, but actually it is faster in development time. So it is focused, the more focused is on development time. The syntax and grammar of Python is really easy. It is one of the easiest language to learn till today's date. And talking about data types, as we talked about high level, as we talked about the basic data types, Python does possess high level internal data types, which can help you to handle more data, complex data. Automatic memory management. Python does possess an automatic memory management no matter what, like as far as your system memory is concerned. Python will handle the memory error, and it is open source, it is free, you can download it. So, and it is easy to use. It is a scripting language. So what is a scripting language? A scripting language is basically a language, or basically the lines of code which is interpreted line by line. But in Python you can use the you can write a script, basically the lines of code, and you can execute that script to see the end of the task. And object oriented, as mentioned, that the more emphasis is on the object. It is highly educational, it is because it is easy to learn, and that is why it is highly educational. It is powerful, it is scalable, and it is easy to maintain because of its easy syntax and efficiency. It is easy to maintain, and thus providing high productivity and lots of libraries. And Python is also known as a glue language. What is a glue language? Glue language is basically when we talk about software development or application development, and application development is basically consists of many languages. Basically cannot develop an application with a single language. So you have attached language or associated languages which you take help in. So that is why Python is a glue language. So it reduces development time, as the more focused on the development time, and it reduces the code length as well, because in Python you have one liner code as well. For example, list comprehensions, you can like write for loops in one single line, and that's why you can reduce the code length. Also there are multiple libraries which don't require you to write the code, complete code. You can use those libraries, built-in libraries, and perform your functions. It is easy to learn and it is useful. It is far much better than other languages. And for developers, easy to understand codes and build projects. You can easy to extend other languages. You can connect Python with SQL, you can connect Python with SQL, you can connect Python with other languages as well. So where to use Python? So now we are talking about the domains, or basically the use cases of Python. You can use Python in data mining. You can use Python as data science. And we all heard that name because Python is like, we must have heard that Python is for data science, right? So, and then AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, web development, web frameworks, embedded systems, graphic design applications, development testing, and automation. And the list goes on. The use of Python is never ending. It is so vast. It is so vast that if you take a dive into it, you won't be able to finish it. So that's how amazing Python is. So, just a brief difference between Python and Perl. Python is easy to learn and important for occasional users. I mean, if a person is not a hardcore programmer, then he or she is occasionally writing the codes, then Python is a good to go language. Python is more readable as compared to other languages, and it has fewer magical side effects, and it guarantees safety, and it has better Java integration than Perl. And as we know, Perl is Unix biased, but Python is less Unix biased. So now Python versus Java. Code five to 10 times more concise. Python is more concise than Java. And dynamic typing. The moment you create an object, the data type of the object is already assessed by the Python. It is much quicker in development. Though it is slower than Java, but in terms of development, Python is much quicker. There is no compilation phase in Python. And because of the efficiency, because of the syntax of the Python, you don't require much of a typing. And yes, it runs slower, but as mentioned, it is so much faster. And you can use Python with Java with JPython as well. Now, why Python for data science? Python provides a great functionality, basically great libraries like NumPy, Pandas, and to deal with mathematics, statistics, scientific functions. And Python is so vast and so amazing that it has built-in libraries, and you don't need to write the code from the scratch. You can use those libraries, you can use those modules to do your data science work. Though you need basic programming knowledge, but with the help of those modules, with the help of those libraries, you can scale your data. You can scale your data. It is easy to maintain as compared to the languages as R. And talking about the libraries which are important for data science, NumPy. So what is a NumPy? NumPy stands for numerical Python. So NumPy is a library which is suitable and which is used for computational purposes in Python. Basically, it provides mathematical functions to handle arrays, like high dimensional arrays, and it also provides method functions for matrices, or it also helps in linear algebra and calculus and many other applications. And pandas is basically the most popular library in Python. Pandas is basic the data analysis library in Python for the data manipulation and shaping the data. It provides useful functions to manipulate large number of data. You can shape the data, you can access the data, you can visualize the data in pandas as well. Now, what is matplotlib? Matplotlib is another useful Python library, but the use of matplotlib is restricted to visualization. You can use a descriptive analysis, you can visualize your data, and creating graphs, creating visualization Python is just as simple as writing a single line of code. Though optimizing those graphs and making those graphs interactive takes some much of hard work, but it is very easy to plot graphs in Python with Matplotlib. And SkyPy. SkyPy is basically a library for statistics. Basically, it's really important, and it is one of my favorite libraries in Python, because if you want to perform some statistical analysis, some statistical test like chi-square test, or basically you want to create a PDF, that is a probability density function, or a CDF, cumulative distribution function, then SkyPy is there for you. You can use SkyPy to perform scientific mathematics and computational programming. Scikit-learn. So now we talk about Scikit-learn. Scikit-learn basically helps. Scikit-learn is a Python library for machine learning, and it provides various algorithms, functions that are used in machine learning. Scikit-learn is built on NumPy, SkyPy, Matplotlib. It is a combination of NumPy, SkyPy, and Matplotlib, and that is why it is really good to do machine learning with Scikit-learn, because it is less typing, as mentioned, because of the efficient code and the syntax. And sklearn, scikit-learn, also known as sklearn, and it provides easy and simple tools for data mining, for data analysis, for machine learning. So it is a good to go language if you are thinking of going into the data science or any in development side. So that's it for today's video. And this introduction was a brief introduction about what is Python and why it is used for data science and why it is so popular. I hope you have the idea about what is Python, and now you can go and learn, and you can also contact Madrid Software Training Solutions for further training. We provide training for Python with data science and machine learning. Thank you so much.